If you're still working because the bills still need to be paid, even though you thought this season of life would look very different, let me ask you one question. Have you ever quietly asked yourself, is this really how I want to spend the rest of my life? Today, you'll meet someone who did, and asking that one question changed everything. This video is for you. If you've worked hard for years, maybe even decades, and you're wondering whether retirement will look the way you once imagined. You may enjoy your career. You may even love the work you do. But companies change, management changes, the economy changes. Sometimes it feels like your future depends on decisions made in the corporate office rather than on the years you've faithfully invested. The question isn't whether you've worked hard enough. The question is whether you're creating another path while you're still working. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Candy. Her story isn't about walking away from a successful career. It's about discovering that she could begin building something alongside it, something that gave her more choices, more confidence, and a greater sense of control over the years ahead. As you watch, I hope you'll see a little of your own story in hers. What if 1 year from today you looked back and realized this was the moment you began creating more choices for your future? I've included a free guide in the description that explains the same program Candy discovered, how it worked, and what to expect, so you can decide whether it's worth exploring for yourself. Candy's journey didn't begin with the business. It began with one ordinary morning and one unforgettable question. Everything changed that morning. Have you ever had an ordinary moment suddenly make you look at your entire future differently? That's exactly what happened to Candy. She spent more than 40 years building a successful career in corporate healthcare and genuinely enjoyed her work. Like many people, she believed years of dedication would eventually provide the financial security she hoped for. But companies were sold, leadership changed, the cost of living continued to rise. So to earn extra income, Candy started delivering from Uber Eats, Instacart, and DoorDash before heading to work in the morning. Then one morning around 5:30, she accepted a delivery behind a dark building. She stepped out of her car and she suddenly felt afraid. She stopped and quietly asked herself, "What am I doing?" It wasn't really about that delivery. It was the realization that working more hours wasn't bringing her closer to the life she wanted. That single question became the beginning of a completely different direction. One honest question changed Candy's thinking. The next step was discovering whether another path really existed. Discovering another way. Later that day, Candy came across a video describing an online business that could be built from home in just 2 to 3 focused hours each day. She was interested, but not convinced. Instead of making an emotional decision, she began researching. She had learned about digital marketing, affiliate marketing, and even read articles from trusted sources like Forbes to understand whether this business model was legitimate. And also had another concern. Candy describes herself as naturally shy. The thought of putting herself online felt uncomfortable, and she wondered whether she could really learn something completely new. Even with those doubts, she decided to take one small step. She purchased the program on Friday evening. By Monday, her business was up and running. More important than the technology was what she felt inside. For the first time in years, she realized her future didn't have to depend entirely on one employer. That realization gave her something she hadn't felt in a long time: possibility. Finding another path created hope. Learning how to walk that path changed everything. Building a different future. Candy quickly realized the greatest value wasn't simply the opportunity to earn additional income. It was learning skills she could keep for the rest of her life. Instead of being handed a course and left on her own, she found live Zoom training, experienced mentors, updated lessons, and a community learning alongside her. As a single mother, she especially connected with the founder's story because she saw someone who had faced challenges and built success one step at a time. Candy stopped worrying about how quickly she could earn money and focused on learning. With every lesson, her confidence grew. She appreciated that the training continued evolving with changing technology and artificial intelligence, so she was always learning strategies that were working today. Looking back, Candy believes the greatest invention she made wasn't purchasing the program, it was investing in herself. Can you imagine learning one new skill at a time while continuing to work full time? If you'd like to understand exactly how the program works before making any decision, download the free guide in the description. It will help you decide whether this path fits the future you want to build. Candy didn't just build new skills, she began changing the way she looked at her future. Taking back your future. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to know your future wasn't resting entirely on your next paycheck? That's the greatest change Candy experienced. Although she appreciated the additional income, what truly transformed her thinking was realizing she finally had choices. Her future no longer depended entirely on company executives, organizational changes, or the next corporate restructuring. She was building something that belonged to her. Candy's original goal was simple. She hoped to earn an extra $500 to $1,000 each month to pay off medical debt and relieve some financial pressure. Within a few months, she reached that goal and her business continued to grow. Looking back, Candy says the greatest reward wasn't income. It was the confidence she gained from developing skills no one could ever take away. Companies change, the economy changes. But the knowledge she gained is hers forever. That confidence replaced uncertainty with hope because she was actively creating the future she wanted instead of waiting to see what happened next. Candy's story isn't really about online business. It's about discovering that your future can still be shaped by the choices you make today. A future worth building. Perhaps that's why Candy's story feels so familiar. It isn't because your journey will look exactly like hers. It's because you may have reached the point where you're asking yourself whether the next chapter of your life will simply be more of the same. You've likely spent decades building a career, supporting your family, paying bills, and putting your own dreams on hold because life always demanded your attention somewhere else. If that's where you find yourself today, remember this. The years you've spent working have given you valuable strengths, discipline, commitment, perseverance, problem solving, and the determination to keep moving forward when life became difficult. Those qualities don't disappear when you decide to learn something new. They become the foundation for whatever you choose to build next. Like Candy, you can't control every circumstance life brings, but you can decide how to respond. Your story isn't over. The next chapter is yours to write. If Candy's story has you wondering whether another path might be possible for you, I've created a free guide that explains the same step-by-step program she chose. You'll learn how it works, what you'll be learning, and what to expect before deciding whether it's the right fit for you. You'll find the link in the description below. And before you go, I'd love to hear from you. What's one dream you've been postponing because work keeps getting in the way? Share it in the comments. Your answer may encourage someone else to believe that it's never too late to begin building a different future.